Hi everyone, and welcome to your hip mobility flow this week. This one's a juicy one. The pelvis is so important and I'm really excited to break it down with you today. A few things before we begin. The pelvis is your center of gravity, so it's really important in the entire alignment of our whole body. So doing these hip mobility exercises will help you feel a little bit more aligned, also a little bit more grounded. And there's this muscle called the psoas muscle that is a huge part of your hip mobility and stability of your pelvis. It's this big strong muscle that comes from the inside of your thigh, goes through your pelvis and connects to your spine. So it crosses the entire pelvis. And why this muscle is important, why I'm going to bring it up out of all the hip muscles, because there's a lot, is because it is innervated with fight-flight nervous system response. So through this muscle, you have a really important nerve that is in charge of fight-flight response. Anything that your nervous system might find triggering or alarming sends a message to your body to fight, flight, or freeze. And the psoas muscle is part of that response. So I like to imagine a little caterpillar. Your psoas muscle is kind of shaped like a little caterpillar. And when a little kid will poke the caterpillar, it slowly starts to shrink up and curl up into this little ball. That is how our psoas muscle responds to triggers or threats and stress. So anytime there's a stress in your life, your psoas muscle is taking it, and it causes it to shorten up and curl up right here in the pelvis. And the psoas muscle is chronically, among a lot of us, chronically short and weak. So usually when a muscle is really short, it's really strong because it's worked a lot. But in this case, this is a really unique muscle. It is short but weak. And another thing that causes that is sitting at a desk all day, driving in a car, watching TV, looking at our screens. It's what we do a lot of these days. And that position of having your pelvis flexed, even just as I am in the position I am in right now, causes it to shorten and to be in this shortened state. So I hope that information about your psoas muscle and your pelvis helps you a little bit, helps you to understand it a little bit better. There's a cue I'm going to be giving a lot today, and I want to break it down for you right now. I'm going to tell you to anchor your femur bone into your hip socket. That might be new to you. If it's new and confusing after this class, bring it into our one-on-ones. But what I mean is your femur bone has a ball, and it connects into your hip joint. And oftentimes the muscles around our pelvis will be imbalanced just based on habit and posture. So if the front of your pelvis is a little bit stronger and tighter than the back or vice versa, your femur bone might be pulled in certain ways based on your posture and muscle strength. And very often that strong psoas muscle pulls our femur bone slightly forward, so slightly forward in space. And what happens is then when we flex at our hip and we fold at our hip, which is when we bring our thigh closer to our chest or our chest closer to our thigh, we don't get to access all of our mobility because our femur bone is being pulled. And so you might articulate the femur bone in the hip like this, where it's getting some bone on bone. So what I want you to think about during your exercises today is really anchoring that femur bone into the back of your hip socket. Really deepening the fold so you get the most mobility there instead of having the femur bone pull out and then maybe having some contact there at the front. And then last but not least, there's always got to be a balance between mobility and stability. So we don't want to be a floppy, wet, overcooked noodle that's so mobile. We also don't want to be a super stiff statue that doesn't have mobility. So you need to find the balance between muscling through things and forcing mobility versus not muscling at all and sort of surrendering and being really heavy in shapes so there's slack in the joints, kind of like a hammock. So we'll work on finding a balance of those two things today. That's enough talking for now. Let's begin on our backs. If you have props or something to help you lift yourself up during class, bolster, blanket, blocks, books, please grab those. Let's get to our backs. Come all the way down. Take a full body stretch. Just give your body a moment to be in this shape, in your space, on your mat or carpet. Take a few big breaths. Now, beginning with a fascial rock, you're going to stay just as is, laying flat on your back with your heels into your mat. You're just going to start flexing at the ankle, very simply just rocking your body up and down the length of your spine. So if you notice you're not able to rock up and down, try to be a little more loosey-goosey at the ankle joint. Keep rocking the full length of your spine. Let your whole body rock with it. Take an inhale. And exhale, pause. Go again, rock. Take an inhale. Exhale, pause. One more. Rock up and down, up and down. Let the body be heavy. Let it be relaxed. Take an inhale. And exhale, pause. Bend your knees, plant your feet onto your mat. Breathing into your wide ribcage, inhale. Exhale, activate deep core. Find your TA, find your pelvic floor. Inhale, wide rib cage. Exhale, deep core. Hold the deep core, the TA, and your pelvic floor on at a level 5 or 6 contraction. Waking up the core. Keep breathing in and out, emphasizing the directions, all 3 directions of your ribs. Holding deep core on. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale, make sure you're in your neutral pelvis. Exhale, imprint. Lengthen your low back slightly towards your mat as you engage the obliques. All layers of your core are on. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, imprint. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, imprint, and hold. Take another breath in. Exhale, back to neutral. Grab your knees into your chest, folding that femur bone back into your socket. Retraction is the direction. When we do that, you want to retract the femur bone in. And just give yourself a nice hug here, adding some circles or some wiggles. And know that your mobility from left to right, front to back, it's going to be different. We are not symmetrical beings. So if you notice that you are a little obsessed with that in your flow today, just let it go. We will never be symmetrical. Hold, hug. See if you can release femur bones deep into your hips. Now staying as is or widening your knees. Circle your knees up towards your head and out and back in. Creating kind of like a rainbow shape, a half circle. Good. Keep your knees out if that's okay, in your hips. Breathe. Now here, this could be a shape where we really slack heavily into our joints. I want us to add a little resistance here, just a little bit of muscle support to make sure that we're not surrendering too heavy into our ligaments and joints. And by doing that, I'm just slightly resisting my knees back into my hands and making sure my pelvic floor is on. Good, bringing knees back to center. Let your left leg go long as you grab your right leg. See if you can really let this left leg be heavy into your mat. We're gonna take some circles here, full circles, so not just the rainbow. And other direction. Now holding behind your thigh bone and reach your foot up to the sky. I don't really care about that leg being straight. In fact, I kind of want it bent just a little bit here. So letting your arms be heavy into your thigh bone, feel that, and then balance with a little bit of resistance of your thigh bone back into your hands. Anchoring the thigh bone into your hip. Now if you want, we can go a little bit deeper here, keeping that reaching back into the hip socket. You can bend your thigh bone closer to your body. Make sure there's no pain, and please back out if there ever is. Good, now let's twist. Bending that knee and bringing it across your body. Now here, make sure your right hip is lifted, stacking, right over left. And instead of bringing your knee really far up into your chest, I want you to actually reach it a little bit away from your chest, and then take your hand and weigh it down a little bit here. Gaze is up at the ceiling, or deepen your twist by looking slightly right. Full breath in and out. Bring it back to center. Now let's switch our sides. Right leg long and super heavy into your mat as you hug your left thigh in. Let's make some circles. If there's any sticky areas that might need a little bit of time, please pause. Breathe into that space. Switch directions. And let's hug knee into chest. Now grabbing behind our thigh, let the hands be weighted and heavy into the thigh bone. And then let the thigh bone, let the thigh bone push back into your hands a little bit. We don't want to feel any gripping, like we're holding on for dear life. I want to instead feel a weighted sensation of the bones. Now if you want, we can deepen, pulling thigh bone a little bit closer to chest. Just explore that mobility there. Good, and let's twist. Crossing left thigh up and over, right. Next, inhale, bring it back through center. One more, knees into chest. Maybe there's a difference now from the first time we did this. And let your legs go long. We're gonna roll up. Inhale, initiate with a reach up and overhead. Then exhale, reach your arms back to the ceiling, head nod, roll yourself up. And you can always skip this and roll up through the side as well. Good. Coming to a child's pose. Bring your legs back. Open your knees as wide as is comfortable today. Take your hands like karate hands here and press them into your hips. Relax there. And then fold up and over your hands a little bit. I'm not taking your blocks to support your chest if you want. I like a little bit of lift here, and relax the head. Now, engage your low abdominals, so the deep core, pelvic floor in and up, TA wrapping, so we have some support there to reach our tailbone back. Empty out your breath, big exhale. Stay for another inhale. Stay for an exhale, permission or opportunity to deepen if you want. Sometimes it takes our body a little bit of time to deepen. One more breath in. And breathe out. Slowly roll yourself up. Coming to a seat now. We're going to do a little bit of figure four work. So place your arms behind you, palms facing front or back, depending on your shoulder. I like a little bit to the side. And then feet on your mat. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. Really zoom into your pelvis. Zoom into your hip joints as you go side to side. Continue to find the anchoring. You might be wiggling around on your mat, moving forward, side to side. So just keep adjusting yourself as you need. We're going to do about 4 more of these. Just take your time. Holding if necessary, moving slower if necessary. To add a little bit of support during this mobility, find your glute when you go to the side. A little squeeze to help support the opening of the front of that hip. Last one. Good. Come to center. Remove your hands and go to one side. So a little figure 4 shape with your legs. Hands can support as much as you need. They can come to heart center or even reach out to help you with your balance. You're going to just do about the same thing with less support of our arms, or little support of the arms. Windshield wiper the knees side to side. And just take some inventory of your whole body. Like, how is your spine responding? Mine's flexing a little bit as I do this. hands to your hips if you need. Sometimes that helps me. Go ahead, pause, whatever side you're on. You're gonna fold forward. Deepening the flexion here. Support with your low abdominals, pelvic floor, and TA. Let's do another one. Through center. Other side. Fold over that leg. Lengthen your spine. So I don't want us rounding like we often do in our roll-ups or our flexion. I want us more so folding. One more. Other side. And fold 2 times. Good. Come through center. And let's come to a tabletop. Making our way to our feet. Tabletop. Take a few moments to move through your spine. Like you're moving through molasses, like the air is thick. We don't want to slack or find too much weight in the shapes here. Lift up and out as you find those shapes. Flip your feet, downward facing dog. 4 to 5 breaths here. Ensure your head is relaxed and heavy. Let your shoulder girdle stretch as you reach your hips up and back. And ensure that your knees are not locked. Bring a tiny bend or even a big bend to those legs. One more round of breath. Breathe in, wide ribs. Exhale, wrap your core. Taking about 10 to 20 steps. We're gonna walk feet to hands. Lift your hips up. So emphasize the pelvis up as you work on the mobility of your femur bones into your hips in this new way. Lots of breath here. Keep reaching the hips up. Eventually, feet come to your mat. All of your weight on your feet. Give your knees a nice bounce. Let your head dangle. Let your arms dangle. Great place to grab your blocks for our next exercise. Place them under your shoulders so you can anchor your arms in. And then widen your feet a bit. The width will depend on your body. Everyone will be different, so just make sure you find a good width for you. And I'm gonna turn my feet out just a little bit here. So let's begin by inhale, taking a halfway lift. Finding neutral. And exhale, deep fold. Inhale, twist right arm up. Keep your hips level, so don't twist them. Exhale, down. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, down. Inhale, straighten legs, halfway lift. Exhale, deep fold. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Deep bend. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway lift. Good. Now from here, inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Deep bend, fold, drop the head. Inhale, halfway lift, hold here. Strong core, strong glutes. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Resist that TA in towards your spine to compress, and then outer hips in towards the center line to support. Exhale, down. Deep fold, drop the head. Inhale, halfway lift. Last one. Reach right arm. Exhale. Inhale, reach left arm. Exhale and fold. Moving into a lunge, reach your left leg back. Widen your stance if you need here. I like to walk my front foot out a little bit. And adjust your blocks if you need to. Lifting up away from our leg. First, rock forward and back. Make circles with that heel. Pause, other direction. Pause. All right, so lunging is a really common place, really easy place for us to have too much slack in our joints. We can easily surrender into this shape, and it feels good, but it's sometimes a little bit too much stretch. So we need to balance that mobility and stretch with support. So I want you to get that pelvic floor on, find your TA, and imagine you're simultaneously pushing your feet into your mat, but then also like pushing them in opposite directions. So front foot slightly forward, back foot slightly back. So there's length. We stretch a little bit in this direction, and then we can drop our pelvis down a little bit. We're gonna flow. We're going to inhale, slight back bend as we look up and drop our pelvis slightly down. Remember, we're not hanging in that joint, we're resisting a little bit. And then exhale, pelvis lifts as we reach our hips up and our head down. Repeat. Inhale, pelvis down, gaze up. Cow lunge. Exhale, cat lunge. Pelvis up, head down. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Coming forward, drop your back knee down. We will inhale, slight look up, widen the chest. Exhale, half split, reach your hips back. Right leg does not have to be straight. Fold deep as you crawl forward, look up, length. Exhale, hips back. Reach your head forward, your tail back. One more. Inhale, reach up, lengthen. Exhale, crawl back, lengthen. Now stay here. Anchor that right femur bone back into your hip socket. Support your weight with your hands so we're not too heavy into that leg. And I want you to windshield wiper the right toes out, coming from the hip. So not coming from the ankle or the knee. I want you to take the whole leg in and out. One more to the right and to the left. Good, crawl forward, step the left leg in, come into a tiny ball, give it a nice bounce. Let's take a halfway lift, inhale, and exhale, other side, your right leg back, low lunge. Rocking forward and back by making circles with that back heel. Other direction. Good, pause. Find the balance of mobility and stability. Deep core helps us to find a lift as we deepen our hips down. Lengthen your legs away from each other. Find the reach first, and then let's deepen. Look up, drop your hips. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your head, lift your hips. Repeat. Inhale, cow lunge. Exhale, cat lunge. Inhale, cow lunge. Exhale, cat lunge. Come forward, drop your back knee. For our next flow, inhale, lengthen your chest wide and your head up. Exhale, crawl back, half splits. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, crawl back. Fold this hip deep, this femur bone deep into that joint. Inhale, reach up and lengthen. Exhale, walk back and hold. Support with your hands. And from the hip, windshield wiper the toes out and in. One more, out and in. Good. Roll forward. Step your right leg in, take a tiny ball, little bounce, hug to yourself. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, slowly roll up. Come to standing. Last little bit here. Standing in mountain pose. Find your neutral. Notice if we need to imprint a little bit to find neutral, or find a little bit of an arch in our low back. And then bend your right knee in towards your chest. So here, really common for that front quad and psoas muscle to take over, get grip right here. If you felt that, I want you to step your leg down. Let's first find our core. Deep core, pelvic floor on. Lift from the core. Fold at the hip joint. Now here, you'll have heavy hands and arms squeezing your thigh bone in, simultaneously resisting your knee back into your hands. Support is coming from your booty and your hamstring on your left side. Keep reaching that femur bone deep into the hip socket. Take away one or both hands and step your leg down. Take one circle each direction, full range of motion. And step it down. Other leg. Find your core. Lift your left leg up from your center. Hands to the front of your knee and resist in both directions. Pulling in towards your leg, pushing out towards your hands. Take an inhale. Exhale, taking away one or both hands. Step your leg down. One big circle each direction. Step your leg down. Mountain pose, breathe. Take a full body stretch. Reach your arms up overhead. And reach your arms out to the side. One more, inhale, big stretch up. And exhale, on your way down, shake your hands and your arms. Taking one last moment, mindful moment to yourself, breath, and closing your practice out. And just noticing the difference you might feel in your body, in your energy, in your mind. Taking a moment to thank yourself for spending time with your body today. Big exhale out. Awesome, everyone. Thanks for joining me for your mobility flow. Let me know what your questions are, and I can't wait to see you next time.